Objectives. After listening to this lecture, you'll be able to describe health and its many components and how those components are interrelated. Many people have a very narrow view of health, but actually it's very comprehensive.
Defining health. What is it? It is the most valuable possession we have. It is with us every moment of our lives. We enact laws to protect it. We seek to protect it from laws. We cannot buy it. We cannot sell it. But we can inherit it and pass it on. We spend billions to keep it, billions to improve it, and billions to find it when it is lost. It is valued and accepted. It is ignored and abused. As a science, it is glamorized. As an art, it is criticized. As an issue, it is politicized. It affects the private purse of each of us. It affects the public purse of the entire nation. Some enrich themselves from it. Some are impoverished by it. But it is the core of our soul, of our essence, of our well-being. It is our health. This class is about improving the most valuable possession you have, your health. It's about making permanent behavior changes that will dramatically improve your health and provide benefits that will last long after the class ends. So my main goal for you is that by the end of the quarter, you'll adopt a variety of healthy habits in order to improve your health. Well, before we can talk about improving your health, I need to clarify just exactly what it is that I'm talking about when I use the term health. The people who represented the World Health Organization in 1947 defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. The World Health Organization's definition deserves credit for recognizing that health encompasses more than just the physical dimension. However, do these three dimensions cover it all? Is there more to our health than just physical, mental, and social aspects? And what about the word complete? Does this mean that someone with a physical disability would never be considered healthy? So there are problems with the World Health Organization's definition. Back then, but that was back in 1947. So it was a good definition for them back then, but it's a bit outdated now. But you can't take any type of health class without their definition at least being mentioned, because it was one of the first concerted efforts by an international organization to actually come up with an official definition of health. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the word health? Most people immediately think of physical aspects such as diet or nutrition, exercise, being free of disease or illness. The physical aspect of our health is only one of 7 components. Health is extremely comprehensive and includes much more than just our physical status. So health is defined in terms of each of its dimensions. Physical health. So let's define each of these 7 dimensions of health. Physical health. What does it mean to be physically healthy? Some say that physical health is defined as our ability to perform normal activities of daily living. These activities could simply include getting out of bed in the morning, being able to get dressed, being able to walk up a flight of stairs, and so forth. Can you think of someone who is incredibly physically unhealthy? They're a heart attack waiting to happen. They are constantly having problems with their physical health. On the flip side, can you think of someone you know whom you would consider to be in really good physical shape? Why would you say that they're in such great shape? Do they exercise on a regular and consistent basis? Do they eat healthy foods the majority of the time? Are they at an ideal weight? Physical health is the easiest of the dimensions to measure. Perhaps that is why we give so much more attention to it compared to the other dimensions. Our percent body fat, our weight, blood pressure, cholesterol level, white blood cell count, etc. might be considered indicators of our physical health. Social health, what does it mean? Social health, what does it mean to be socially healthy? Is our social health measured by how many friends we have? Does it mean the more friends you have, the more socially healthy you are? Social health is not measured by how many friends you have, but rather how well you relate to other people. Social health has to do with your ability to have satisfying relationships and the overall quality of your interactions with others. Can you think of someone you know whom you would consider to be a bit socially inept? You would not consider them to be socially healthy. Conversely, can you think of someone who has excellent relationships with others? Someone who can really relate to others and who can get along with just about anyone? Would you consider someone to be healthy if they exercised every day, but they had absolutely no friends because no one could stand to be around them? What if they ate the most perfect diet, tons of fruits and vegetables every day, never ate any sweets, etc., but they're unable to relate at all with other people and have absolutely no relationships with others? What if they had the most perfect body, but they're incredibly disliked by just about everyone they come in contact with? Can you see how important social health is, and that our health is comprised of much more than the physical dimension? Emotional health. What does it mean to be emotionally healthy? Is our emotional health measured by how happy we are? Do we need to be a Pollyanna or someone who is always in a good mood to be considered emotionally healthy? Emotional health, sometimes called mental health, does not necessarily refer to our level of happiness, but rather our ability to feel and express the full range of emotions, but in an appropriate and controlled manner. An emotionally healthy person feels everything from extreme happiness to extreme sadness, but they don't allow their emotions to rule their life. Their behavior is not always controlled or determined by their feelings. Feelings of self-esteem, love, and trust are all part of our emotional health. Can you think of someone you know who you would definitely not consider to be an emotionally stable or emotionally healthy person? On the flip side, can you think of someone you know whom you would consider to be an extremely emotionally healthy person? Why do you consider this person to be emotionally healthy? It's probably not that they never get angry, or maybe they do never get angry, but they're in control of their feelings. Not so much that they never express their feelings and emotions, but they control their emotions and not the other way around. Would you consider someone to be healthy if they were in the best physical shape, but they had major problems with depression and were even suicidal? What if they had a great percent body fat but constantly lose their temper at the drop of a hat? Again, can you see how important emotional health is, and that our health is comprised of much more than the physical domain? Intellectual health. What does it mean to be intellectually healthy? Do we have to know a lot to be intellectually healthy? Is our intellectual health measured by our GPA or IQ? Intellectual health does not have to do with our GPA or IQ, but refers to our ability to have an open mind and learn new things. Can you think of someone you know who is so closed-minded and/or they refuse to learn new things? Conversely, can you think of someone you know who is incredibly open-minded and like a sponge when it comes to learning new things? They seek out learning opportunities. They love to learn new things. Would you consider someone to be healthy if they were able to run a marathon, but they're incredibly closed-minded? What if they were at their ideal weight, but they refuse to learn new things? Can you see how our intellectual health is an important dimension, and that our health, again, is so much more than eating healthy foods and exercising? Spiritual health. What does it mean to be spiritually healthy? Is our spiritual health measured by how often we go to church? Spiritual health is not necessarily measured by how often we go to church, nor does it necessarily have anything to do with religion. Someone could be extremely spiritual and not necessarily religious, or they may be extremely religious and not very spiritual. Spiritual health refers to having a strong sense of meaning and purpose and direction in life. Belief in a supreme being might increase these feelings of meaning, direction, or purpose in life. Think of someone you know who does not have any sense of who they are and where they're going in life. And think of someone who does have an incredibly strong sense of who they are and what this life is all about. Would you consider someone to be healthy if they never get sick, they never get the flu or a cold or anything, they're always in good physical health, but they have absolutely no sense of purpose in life, no direction whatsoever? Can you see how our spiritual health is an important dimension, and that our health, again, is so much more than only physical aspects? Environmental health. What does environmental health refer to? The preceding 5 components of health have to do with things that are going on inside a person, I guess you could say. Environmental health refers to external factors outside the person that may affect the preceding dimensions of health. Environmental health usually has to do with factors affecting our physical health. Quality of air, water, or food supply are some examples. But environmental health could also refer to external factors that affect not just the physical domain. Growing up in an abusive home could affect emotional health and could be considered a factor of environmental health. Occupational health. What does occupational health refer to? Well, occupational health has to do with all of the preceding factors, including environmental health, but as they relate to your place of employment. Because such a significant portion of our lives are spent in our place of employment, and because the quality of the preceding dimensions of health at work might be very different than at home. Many health promotion professionals agree that this should be an added dimension to our health. Think of how many hours by the end of your life you will have spent at work. That's a pretty big chunk of your life. One or more of the dimensions of health might be drastically different at work compared to at home. Environmental health, for example, could be very different at home versus at work. For example, a coal miner's environmental health is horrible at work, breathing in all the carcinogens in the mines. But if they live in a beautiful valley free of any smog, that aspect of their environment is great at home. Also, emotional health could be completely different at work compared to at home. You might have a boss who treats you terribly, but you have a wonderful spouse who treats you the complete opposite of your boss. So occupational health is an important component to our health. So when you think of the word health, please know that there's so much more to it than eating healthy and exercising. Our health involves so much more than just the physical domain. This certainly is not to say that our physical health is not important. Those of you who have ever been really sick before and have been in very poor physical health probably appreciate your physical health more than those of us who have always been in good physical health and who may take it for granted. Our physical health is an incredibly important dimension, but I hope you see that it's only one of many dimensions to our health. Being quote unquote healthy is so much more than just being physically healthy. It's important to understand that all of the dimensions of health are interrelated, meaning that when one dimension is affected, the others are affected as well. There's not one single dimension that stands alone or is not affected by any of the other dimensions. For example, smoking affects not only your physical health, but your social health if you have friends that don't like to be around you when you smoke, and your emotional health if you feel like you need a cigarette in order to relax. Stress affects not only your emotional health. You feel angry and irritated, which affects your social health because your friends and family are mad at you because of the way you treat them when you're stressed, and your physical health because stress has been shown to be related to up to 90% of all disease and illness. Key points. Health is comprised of much more than just the physical domain. Sure, there are physical aspects, but also emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, environmental, and occupational aspects. The dimensions of health are intertwined or interrelated. When one is affected, the others are affected. And that's it.